November 24th, 1963. Only 48 hours had passed since President John F. Kennedy was assassinated. The nation was still mourning. Investigators were still collecting evidence. Reporters were still searching for answers. And millions of Americans believed the story was only beginning. Then suddenly, the man accused of killing the president was dead. Not in a courtroom, not after a trial, not after years of investigation, but in the basement of Dallas Police Headquarters, live on national television. The image shocked the world. Lee Harvey Oswald, handcuffed and surrounded by police officers, collapses after a gunshot. Chaos erupts. People scream. Officers tackle the shooter. Television cameras continue recording. For millions watching at home, it felt impossible. How could this happen? Who would risk everything to kill the most important suspect in America? The answer arrived almost immediately. His name was Jack Ruby, and overnight he became one of the most controversial figures in American history. Before November 24th, Ruby was largely unknown outside Dallas. He owned and operated several nightclubs. He knew local police officers. He knew reporters. He spent much of his life around nightlife, entertainment, and local business circles. Friends described him as emotional, energetic, sometimes unpredictable, yet nothing about his public image suggested he was about to commit one of the most famous murders ever broadcast. The first question investigators asked was obvious. Why? Why would Jack Ruby kill Lee Harvey Oswald? Ruby himself provided an explanation. He claimed he acted out of anger, out of grief, out of patriotism. According to Ruby, he wanted to spare Jacqueline Kennedy the pain of returning to Dallas for a lengthy trial. He said he was overwhelmed by emotion, that he acted spontaneously, that there was no conspiracy, no larger plan, no hidden organization, just one man reacting emotionally to a national tragedy. Some people believed him, others did not, and that disagreement continues even today. Because from the very beginning, several aspects of Ruby's actions raised questions. The first was opportunity. How had Ruby managed to enter police headquarters? How had he gotten so close to Oswald? How had security failed at such a critical moment? These questions generated immediate criticism. The entire world knew Oswald would be transferred that morning. Police understood the risks. Security should have been intense. Yet somehow, Ruby entered the basement, positioned himself near the transfer route, and waited. To many observers, it seemed almost unbelievable. Investigators eventually determined that Ruby had entered through a ramp leading into the basement. He arrived only minutes before Oswald appeared. The timing was extraordinary. Supporters of the official explanation argue that chance played a major role. Critics argue that the timing seems too perfect. The debate has never fully disappeared. Another issue involved Ruby's background. Although he was primarily known as a nightclub owner, rumors quickly emerged about possible connections to organized crime. Some journalists began investigating his business relationships. Others examined financial records. Still others explored friendships and acquaintances. The result was a flood of speculation. Did Ruby know mob figures? Had he interacted with criminal organizations? Could those relationships somehow connect to the assassination? The questions multiplied rapidly. Many produced more headlines than answers. It is important to understand the atmosphere of the time. The assassination had already shattered public confidence. People struggled to accept simple explanations. Then the primary suspect was murdered before trial. That development made conspiracy theories almost inevitable. Even individuals who normally trusted official investigations began asking difficult questions. Could two extraordinary events really happen by coincidence? Could Oswald kill the president and then be killed himself only 2 days later? For many Americans, the sequence felt suspicious. Ruby's own behavior often added to the mystery. At times he appeared cooperative, at other times emotional and unpredictable. He gave interviews, made statements, changed emphasis, expressed fears, and occasionally made comments that investigators found confusing. Some believe these inconsistencies reflected stress. Others believe they suggested hidden knowledge. Again, the same pattern appeared. Evidence existed. Interpretations differed. Certainty remained elusive. As investigators examined Ruby's life, they discovered a complicated individual. He was deeply involved in local Dallas nightlife. He maintained relationships with police officers, reporters, entertainers, and business owners. Many of those connections were perfectly ordinary. Yet after the assassination, ordinary details suddenly seemed significant. People searched for hidden meanings everywhere. A casual friendship became a possible clue. A business relationship became a possible conspiracy. An ordinary meeting became a possible secret connection. The assassination had changed how people viewed information. Suspicion spread quickly, and Ruby sat directly at the center of it. Eventually, Ruby stood trial for murdering Lee Harvey Oswald. The proceedings attracted enormous attention. The world watched. The man who killed the president's accused assassin now faced justice himself. The trial produced dramatic testimony, emotional moments, and intense media coverage. In the end, Ruby was convicted. Yet even after conviction, controversy continued. Appeals followed. Questions remained, and public fascination never disappeared. What makes Jack Ruby such an important figure in the JFK story is not simply the fact that he killed Oswald. It is the effect his actions had on history. Had Oswald lived, he would have faced trial. Evidence would have been challenged, witnesses cross-examined, arguments presented publicly. Instead, the central suspect died before any of that could happen. Whether Ruby intended it or not, he permanently altered the investigation. And perhaps more importantly, he altered public trust. Many people felt that the truth had been taken away from them. The opportunity to hear Oswald defend himself was gone. The opportunity to watch a trial was gone. The opportunity to resolve key questions through legal proceedings was gone. That loss created a vacuum, and into that vacuum rushed decades of speculation. Some theories focused on organized crime. Others focused on intelligence agencies. Others focused on foreign governments. Still others focused on political enemies. The possibilities seemed endless, and Jack Ruby became one of the central pieces in almost every major theory. Yet, despite decades of investigation, no definitive evidence has proven that Ruby acted as part of a larger conspiracy. That fact frustrates people on both sides of the debate. Those who believe in a conspiracy often feel the evidence points towards something larger. Those who reject conspiracy theories often point to the lack of proof. The result is a mystery that remains unresolved. What is certain is that Ruby's actions changed history. Without firing a shot at President Kennedy, he became one of the most important figures in the entire story. Because by killing Oswald, he ensured that questions would survive for generations. Questions about motive, questions about evidence, questions about truth, and questions about whether America was being told the full story. As 1963 came to an end, pressure mounted on the federal government. The public wanted answers, Congress wanted answers, the world wanted answers. An investigation larger than any previous presidential inquiry was about to begin. A commission that would attempt to answer the question everyone was asking. Who killed President Kennedy? And did anyone help him? In the next episode, the Warren Commission begins its investigation. Witnesses testify, evidence is reviewed, and the United States government presents what would become the most controversial official conclusion in modern American history. This is Echoes of Humanity TV. YouTube.com/Echoes of Humanity TV.